Hello everyone and welcome to Sur la Côte presentation and tasting today. My name is Julie and I'm French product manager for Boutino International. And today I'm joined by two of our French winemakers. So Julien Dugas, live direct from Domaine Boutino, and Guillaume Létang, live direct from Mâcon. Both of these wonderful French winemakers cover pretty much the entire south of France from a winemaking point of view. So today what's going to happen is for 45 minutes, we are taking you on a holiday. We're going to travel to the south of France and we're going to discover two amazing new regions that we brought to our portfolio very recently. So the idea is to walk you through both of the regions for the white and the rosé. What we'll do after that is just explain a little bit of the geography that's happening. So which region we pick for the wines. And then we'll just have a little tasting at the end, just to explain what's the link between the regions and the tasting. In the meantime, so thank you all for joining today. If you've got any questions, do not hesitate to pop them in the chat. So just before we start delving into the actual regions and the tasting of the wines, I just thought it would be quite interesting from a product management point of view to explain to you what was going through our minds when we picked both of the wines and what is the philosophy behind them. I do, however, have a little technical issue with my sound because do you guys hear a little bit of the noise in the
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm okay, yeah.
Right. Maybe if we can you lower the volume on your computer, Julien and Guillaume? Just, I think it's coming from the feedback that I'm getting.
It's good like that?
Yeah, I think it's actually a bit better. Yeah, perfect. Thank you. So sorry about this little technical issues. So before we delve into the regions and the tasting, I just thought, it would be good to just walk you through the philosophy of the wines. So what happened is about 6 months ago, I tasked Julien and Guillaume to find two interesting wines, primarily so white wine and a rosé, that would depict interesting coastal French terroir, because we just thought out there are amazing white wine and there are amazing rosé, especially like with summer style that goes with a variety of food. However, we feel like it's a little bit of our duty as a wine producer to try to bring exciting and intriguing wine regions to our customers and just try to depict interesting terroirs which they have just a little bit of something else to offer. So let's see what you guys brought back from your exploration trip. And we're going to start with you, Guillaume, and see what you brought from your discovery. So can you just tell us a little bit more about the wines you have behind?
Yeah, so today we will speak about the Taux Lake. This region, we already work a lot in this region, especially for our range, especially on Sauvignon and Vermentino. So this Côte de Taux, so we are in the heart of the Languedoc-Roussillon, so in the south of France. So we craft this Côte de Taux white along the Taux Lake, which is an oyster basin with a lot of oyster farms over there. So the vineyard is mainly located in the west coast of the lake, and at the foot of an ancient volcano of Agde. So we are not far from Sète, Agde, and the famous AOP Picpoul de Pinet. This Taux Lake is located between the sea and inland. From the Taux Lake, we can see the Mediterranean Sea, and it's a real unusual setting for vineyard due to the fact that we have a real microclimate over there. and this massive lake moderate really the strong climate of the Mediterranean climate, which is very warm and very dry during the summer. So this huge lagoon, the temperature of the water of the lagoon moderate the strongness of this climate. And obviously, we have a real impact on the acidity and on the fineness of the wine, especially on the white wine. Which is interesting also in this area. It is the biodiversity over there, because we have a lot of birds, of insects around the lake. And this biodiversity is really interesting from vineyard point of view, and for the viticulture practices, which and this biodiversity helps a lot on the viticulture. And last but not least, it is from geological point of view. As I said, we are located at the foot of an ancient volcano, so the soil is very diverted and multifaceted, and which give a real originality and identity of the soils over there. So a real identity of this area around the lake.
So I'm just going back to the previous picture as well, because so you talk about clearly there is a lot going on in the terroir. So both, like you said, from a soil point of view, are these oyster farms, I'm guessing. So this is something that the region is quite famous for in the IGP Côte de Tours. So they do loads of oyster. So the vineyards are pretty much by the sea. So I'm guessing there is a lot of wind. From a winemaking point of view, looking at different what winemakers are doing out there, there is a lot of white wine. Do you think it sounds like there is a lot of similarities with the Picpoul appellation? Maybe. What's your view on that?
Yeah, in any cases, we are really located on the Picpoul de Pinet area. The only difference is the grape variety. But for Picpoul de Pinet, the area is located around the Thau basin. Obviously, it's not the same grape because Picpoul de Pinet it's 100% Picpoul grapes. But we have exactly the same microclimate, the same terroir, the same influences of the Thau lake on the grapes, on the vineyard, the same influences of the sea breeze coming from the sea, the soil, etc. So when we speak about Picpoul de Pinet, we speak about the small village of Pomerol, Florensac, Marseillan, and this Côte de Tours is really crafted on the same village.
Okay, so we'll go through the blend afterwards, which is a very intriguing choice that you made with the selection of different grape varieties and the blend. In the meantime, I think we're going to move to you, Julien, and see what you brought from your own trip. So, Guillaume, you brought back IGP Côte de Tours. Julien, what appellation did you choose? And can you tell us where is it and why did you pick the region that you picked for Sur la Côte?
Yes, thanks, Julie. Like I am in south of France, I chose an appellation in the south. Today, for me, the new appellation who grow a little bit in the heart of the people, it's the IGP Méditerranée. Méditerranée, this appellation, to present quickly, I print some map to explain it's maybe better than a long speak. You have, I don't know if you can see, you have the limits, the border of this appellation. It's close to the Mediterranean Sea and go up to Valence. Inside, you have the Côte de Provence, the Côte du Rhône, and just to explain a little bit what is very special in this appellation, it's the climate. And something important with a lot of impact in our climate, in Mediterranean climate, it's the wind. And I bring for you a map where you see the Mistral wind impact. Like you can see, it's exactly the same limit than the EGP Mediterranean. Why? Because this wind gives us something special to the culture of the vine. It gives a typicity, it gives the aromatic, it gives the dryness to the grapes to have more concentration and more aromatic in the wine. It's for that I chose this appellation. And just for maybe you see on the map, you are in the middle of this map, the appellation Côte de Provence Rosé. And this EGP Méditerranée sur la côte, it's for me the small brother to the Provence Rosé. It's for that I have this choice. After, when you speak about the particularity of this wine, it's easy, fruit, freshness, easy wine for every moment.
Because so Julien, I know we talked a lot about Méditerranée recently because it's an appellation that from a commercial point of view as well, IGP Med, whilst IGP Côte de Tours, I truly believe there is a future for this appellation from a quality point of view. IGP Méditerranée, we can see it's growing in popularity because, like you said, so it's a wide variety of different terroirs, and we can see on the pictures. You can walk through lavender fields. You are literally in the middle of the Garrigue. You can also be by the beach side, so you've got different variety of terroir. So for you, would IGP Med is really all about the fruitiness of the wine? Like if you had to compare with another rosé that you were doing, so let's say you are the guy behind Les Cerisiers, for example, and I'm sure we've got fans of the wine out there in the audience. What would be the main difference, for example, between Côte du Rhône Rosé and an IGP Med?
Yeah, Côte du Rhône Rosé, when I speak about Les Cerisiers, it's a wine with more texture, a little bit more body, and it's not a direct wine. It's a wine with a little bit more finesse and complexity. The EGP Méditerranée sur la côte, for me, it's more easy. It's more a direct wine. When you test it, you have directly the fruit in the nose and in the mouth. It's a direct fruit. You smell the grapefruit, and it's like that. We like a summer rosé.
Right. So what we have is two wines that will taste slightly different, but then from a personality point of view. So now we're gonna move on to the tasting because I mean personally I'm really excited to taste them whilst we've been through the regions now. So obviously you talked a lot about loads of winds, lots of sunshine. So now Guillaume, if we can taste the white together, and if all of you out there can just have a little bit of a taste of the white. So IGP Côte de Tours, when we taste the wine, from your point of view, what sort of taste profile are we going to have, and how has that been influenced by the climate, Guillaume?
So, as I said, Côte de Tours, it is really my favorite region and area for people who are already dealing with our range. Over there, we are used to crafting Sauvignon Vermentino because we have it is a perfect area for the white for me due to this lake, what I explained previously. So on this wine we have a real freshness, liveliness. It's very focused on the white flowers for me. In terms of blend, we are dealing with Terret, which is one of the oldest grapes of this area. It is a real local grapes. On the oldest grapes, we have Picpoul over there and Terret. Terret is mainly located in the Thau basin, and It is the real spine of this wine. This grape, it's a late ripening grapes, so it gives a lot of dryness, acidity. It's quite a light grape variety, quite refreshing, and it is the real backbone of this Côte de Tours white. On top of that, we had Vermentino in order to beef up the aroma, to give more heady flavors, more lush, and more flesh in the wine. Because sometimes the terret, the drawback of the terret is sometimes it's a bit austere and a bit light, but it gives the dryness and the liveliness, and that's why we add some Vermentino in order to beef up a little bit the blend and give the citrus, the lemony flavors. And at the end, we add a drop of Viognier, excuse me, just to give us a bit more of complexity, just a touch of complexity, and another layer of aromatic, I would say.
Yeah, because I'm getting loads of it, because you were talking about, so when you think about the climate, loads of sunshine, but clearly that wind and that sort of like maritime being by the sea really helps balancing the wine, because you would expect something extremely aromatic, especially when you play with Viognier. You have that sort of aroma, but you still manage to keep that creaminess with the wine because of the Vermentino. You've got a bit of peach note. Then you've got that really refreshing lime and lemon coming through, really fresh finish. It's quite, when we were talking about having a summery wine, but I think what we kept in mind the whole time as well is have something that is quite substantial with food as well. So I think this will, when we talk about oysters, I think this with a seafood platter, or if we had to do a seafood tartare or something like this with a little bit of drizzle of lemon, I think that could be a real winner. Because in terms of winemaking methods, I'm guessing you just kept the freshness to a maximum and did a gentle pressing, and so winemaking really easy going.
Yeah, as usual, the date of the harvest, it's one of the key. If you want to focus on the acidity, obviously the microclimate and the area helps a lot, but we are very focused on the date of the harvest in order to keep the freshness. Obviously, the Terret grapes helps a lot because, as I said, it's late ripening grapes. So definitely we have acidity, we have freshness. And after that, Vermentino, it's I would say a real recipe, because Vermentino, if you add too much Vermentino, you are too heady, you are too white flowers, and sometimes you lose the Terret flavor. And yes, as you said, Julie, we have a delicate and fresh product, and it's a foodie wine and a summery wine by the glass as well, for me. And it's perfect as aperitif. Obviously, it's perfect with a plate of oyster,
yeah. No, really, really good wine, Guillaume. I think that there is a lot of box ticked. I was really excited when you came back with an IGP Côte de Tours, mostly because the idea we had this whole time was coastal French terroir, which I think is depicted extremely well with this wine, food profile, and something that is just a little bit more interesting as well. You can tell there is a lot going on. So yeah, I think you did a great job. Let's see what, Julien, what did you do with your rosé in comparison? I think there are obviously two different profiles. Julien, can you tell us what's going on with your rosé? What is the blend? And yeah, just tell us a bit more about the taste profile that we should expect.
Yeah, I chose to make this rosé two variety of grape, Grenache and Syrah. for me, it's the best variety to translate the climate impact in this wine. Grenache for the finesse, the elegance, the acidity, and the Syrah for the aromatic and the texture. After to explain a little bit all this wine, and sorry, I'm looking for a direct fruit, a strawberry, a grapefruit, like I explained, and a nice acidity. To obtain that, because in the south of France now the summer are more and more warm, we have an important attention to the date of the harvest. In the past, we're just looking for about the degree. Today, we're looking for about the acidity in the wine, because it's more and more important to have a great balance on the final wine. To explain also a little bit how happened during the harvest, 99% of rosé or EGP made rosé, it's picked by machine, often by night. We start at 4 o'clock and finish at 10. Why? Because it's at 4 o'clock you begin to have the cold temperature impact to the night, and finish at 10, because at 10 the sun beginning to arrive and warm the grape. Why we focus on this temperature? More you have a temperature during the harvest, more you extract a tannin and the color, and we have a great attention to have a light color and no a lot of tannin in the wine, because it's a rosé. After we put the grape in the press, because it's also a direct press for this wine. We press directly the grape, and a pink juice run. We ferment it, we stabilize this juice, we chili the juice to clarify it, and after we racking and we start the fermentation. Like the juice, it's in cold temperature. To start the fermentation, we help the nature with a yeast, because after the juice, it's around 10 degrees to start the fermentation. We help that with the yeast to focus also on the fruit part, and we do the temperature under 18-16 degrees to rise the aromatic in the wine, to rise the fruit. When the fermentation is finished, we clarify the wine, and it's ready to bottling. It's like that you have the pure Mediterranean expression.
Honestly, like Julien, this is really delicious. It has so much fruit going on. And I think, again, when I came to both of you guys asking for something that has a bit of flesh, something fruity yet refreshing, because there is a lot of delicious rosé and a lot of delicious white wine out there. But I think what you like to do, Julien, is have sort of profile. It's packed with strawberry. It's very. I could have that with dessert, obviously, just by itself at the aperitif. But again, I think it offers that sort of that there is a lot of backbone going on, which is probably due to the Grenache. And I think adding a bit of Syrah as well to have this spicy, almost like English sweets, a bit of grapefruit. Again, I think it ticks all the boxes for the purpose of the Sur la Côte range, which is all about interesting summery wines by the coast. So the fruit that we can, because for me this is a very fruity driven rosé wine that I think we need to have with a bit of food. Is it all coming because of this summery climate that we get in the south of France? Is it all because of the sunshine that we managed to get this very fruity, like it's a fruit bomb right now? So yeah, is it just because of the climate or because of the winemaking technique that you use?
It's an addition of different things, like I explained to more. If you want rise the fruit on the wine, you need respect of the state, cold temperature to peak, fermentation in cold temperature also, and the selection of the variety, because you have plenty of variety available in EGP Mediterranean, but for me, Grenache and Syrah, it's a pure expression of the Mediterranean climate and area, and it's with this variety we can obtain for me the best aromatic and the pure fruit expression.
No, I think I repeat myself, but yeah, I think you guys such great wines, and I think again when I came to you with a little bit of a challenge when it was back, I think it was around the winter, because this is pretty much when we have to decide what will go into our portfolio for the year after. I think you really brought back exactly what was the challenge that I set you to do, and I'm really happy. With the wines and the style, I think it's a little bit more interesting, because at the minute we do have, like Guillaume, you were saying, we've got IGP Ocre, we've got Vin de France, but now with ranges like Les Volets, which is Haute Vallée de l'Aude, and with IGP Côte de Tours and IGP Med, our goal is really to try to bring something a little bit more interesting for consumers, because I think it's important to go after what is going to be the next big thing. And I generally believe that IGP Med and Côte de Tours could just bring something interesting in the market. So, I think you did a cracking job. We don't have any questions from the panel today, because I hope they are just mesmerized by the wine. But if you do have some questions to everybody out there in the audience, make sure that you can contact your account manager. Otherwise, guys, I think that's it for me. I don't have any more questions. I don't know if you've got anything to add, but otherwise, I think it's a wrap for today.
Yeah, I just want to add, if you get the opportunity to have a tour and visit the Thau Lake area, it's very interesting, and you can have a fantastic lunch on the shore of the lake, and enjoy a glass of Côte de Tours white with a plate of oyster, with a view, a wonderful view on the sea, the oyster farms, and you have plenty of small village worthwhile visiting, as Marseillan, for example. So it's if you want to have the real picture of the area and of the wine, it's very good to have a tour over there.
What I'm hearing, Guillaume, is next time we can travel, you're paying at the restaurant. That's what I've heard from what you just said. But no, hopefully, hopefully when travel resumes and when the situation, it just gets a little bit better with COVID, I really hope that we can go together, visit the place. And same as you, Julien, we won't leave you alone in Queyranne. We'll come and visit you as well if we can, and try the wines at the terrace. We can see out there, the sun is shining. Temperature is rising in the south.
So you will be welcome.
Yeah. So no, thank you guys for your time today. And I will see you soon. Thank you very much. And thank you to everybody.
Thank you to everybody. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.